Okay, here we are, our daily fuel. We're going through the scriptures, the New Testament in a year. And we are in the book of First Corinthians. That is kind of confusing because First Corinthians follows the book of Romans. And we went through the book of Romans. Took a break there, actually. I had some surgery and took a little break there and then came back and missed a day. I missed a couple of days, and then when it got back on track, I missed another day. And then apparently Romans 16 never really posted, and so we did 1 Corinthians 1 and then Romans 16, so hopefully we're back on track. So here we are. Pray for me, so I appreciate that. We are in the book of 1 Corinthians, and we said that the book of Corinthians was written to the Corinthians. They're in Greece, and the Apostle Paul is really pushing into the interior now. He's pushing way away from Jerusalem. The Apostle Paul grew up in a religious town. He went to religious schools. He wore religious clothes. He ate religious food. He had religious friends, everything about it. And now he's pushing deep into Gentile territory. And it's a little bit different, and there's some issues. And so he starts his church in Corinth, and the Lord tells him to stay there, that he's going to watch over him. And so he stays there for 18 months. He leaves. When he leaves that church, they still have some questions. They still have some things they haven't sorted out as a young church, 18 months. And so they write to the Apostle Paul and they ask him some questions. And for the most part, the book of 1 Corinthians is going to be him answering those questions that they asked. Now, they're an interesting people. They're Corinthians. They're Greeks. They are in this place in Greece. If we had a map, we would see that they sort of jet out into the water there, and they're a cosmopolitan place where they really bring together the continents. And so because there's a lot of trade there and people coming from all over the place, it's one of those cities where everything is there. Of course, they're a Greek city, so the Greeks, they valued the body, the Olympics, how far can you push the body? They valued the mind, Greek philosophy. So all of that's happening, but it's also a really deranged town in that there's an awful lot of sexuality there. There's an awful lot of money there. There's an awful lot of everything there. What would we liken it to? We would liken it to San Francisco, New York City, New Orleans, any of these cities, Bangkok, Thailand, any of these great cities around the world where you can get everything you want. In fact, if you want in those cities, you can find good people who are living good moral lives, who are living different than, everybody else out there. They're all there. Everybody's there. And so now they're all together in this congregation called the Corinthian congregation, and they got problems. But Paul says, you're a holy people. God has set you apart. He's going to work in you, and he's going to finish the work that he started. So chapter 2. And so it was with me, brothers and sisters. When I came to you, I didn't come to you with eloquence of human wisdom as I proclaimed to you the testimony about God. I resolved to know nothing while I was with you except Jesus Christ and him crucified. That's the message. Jesus, him crucified, resurrected from the dead. I came to you in weakness with great fear and trembling. There was a lot of trouble in Corinth when Paul got there. And he said, my message and my preaching were not with wise and persuasive words. We said this early on that, the Apostle Paul, he keeps putting down his own preaching and his own public presentation, his own speaking. And it seems to be that Paul may not have been the most compelling speaker on the planet. But boy, was he a great theologian. Was he a great Bible teacher? Just unbelievable. And so my message was not preaching with wise and persuasive words, but with a demonstration of the Spirit's power. People getting converted, people getting changed, miracles, so that your faith might not rest on human wisdom, but on God's power. Now, we do, however, speak a message of wisdom among the mature, but not the wisdom of this age, of course, Greece, right? Of this age, the rulers of this age, whoever he's speaking of there. Is he speaking about the rulers in the heavenlies, or is he speaking of earthly rulers who are coming to nothing? We declare God's wisdom a mystery that has been hidden and that God destined for our glory before time began. So this message is eternal. This message was there before time began. What happened when time began? The heavens and the earth were created, and time was created. God stands outside of time. He's not limited by time. None of the rulers of this age understood it, for if they had, they would not have crucified the Lord of glory. However, as it's written, no eye has seen, no ear has heard, no human mind has conceived the things that God has prepared for those who love him. A couple of things here. No eye has seen or ear heard or human mind conceived of what God has for us. But there's also some interesting things in here, is that no eye had seen. Do you know in the physical universe that there are colors floating around that you can't see? Your eye just is not designed to see it. But, when you start to use some tools to break up the colors, you can find some of the stuff that is there. Your eye won't necessarily see it, nor ear heard. Do you know that there is sounds right now around you that your ear cannot hear? Your ear's not made to hear it. In fact, they say dogs can hear sounds that you can't hear. And these are the things God has revealed to us by the Spirit. The Spirit searches all things, even the deep things of God. For who knows a person's thoughts except his own spirit within him? In the same way, no one knows the thoughts of God except the Spirit of God. What we have received is not the spirit of the world, the wisdom of the world, the learning of the world, but the Spirit who is from God, so that we may understand what God has freely given to us. We can understand it, and we understand it by the Spirit. The Spirit is teaching us. This is what we speak, not words taught by human wisdom, but words taught by the Spirit, explaining spiritual realities with Spirit-taught words. There's something going on with those who know Jesus and how God is teaching us. The person without the Spirit does not accept the things that come from the Spirit. So if you don't have the Spirit, you can't accept these things. You're like, I don't know, it sounds like kind of craziness to me. But God considers them foolishness and cannot understand them because they are discerned only from the Spirit. Spirit of God, teaching us, guiding us, leading us, teaching us. The Spirit is in us. I call it your knower, not like Noah, Noah, but like Knower, your knower. You know in your knower. You know that you know that you know because the Spirit's living inside of you and teaching you. The person with the Spirit makes judgments about all things, but such a person is not subject to merely human judgments. For who has known the mind of the Lord that's to instruct him? Well, who has known the mind of God? But we have the mind of Christ. The Spirit is living in us, and God is teaching us. And we can trust the Spirit, and we can trust what the Spirit is teaching us, and we can trust where the Spirit is leading us. So this is the good news of the gospel. So bless you guys. Let's continue in Corinthians. It's a lot of fun. We're going to have a lot of fun in the book of Corinthians. Hey, love you.